All right, guys. That always falls down. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna move that right there. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. It is Take, as always. I'm Jay, manager of Whiskey Raiders, co-host here on Weekly Whiskey, and I have a new Scotch review for today. So this is dropping today. This is a big one for the Scotch industry. We've been hearing about it for a little while. People have been getting some rumors, but it is finally here. It is ready to taste, and I am ready to talk about it. This is Craigellachie's 13-year Armagnac finish, finished in Bas-Armagnac barrels, which is a really kind of interesting detail here. We'll give it a swish, kind of let it rest for a moment. So Bas-Armagnac is a region of the Armagnac region of France. There's also Tenerife, etc. This is on the most western part of the region of France that you can produce Armagnac in. It's kind of like the Cognac region, etc. So this is Craigellachie, which is, kind of an interesting distillery. They're experimenting more and more than they used to. Thank you to Craigellachie for sending this out. It's finished in former Bas-Armagnac barrels. So I believe that those were just purely Armagnac barrels. They weren't, a barrel that went to hold on to Armagnac for a while. This was used to fully mature a product of Armagnac. They don't tell us which ones. Bas-Armagnac, there's a couple big guesses, but many producers are finishing Scotch whiskey in a variety of things. Typically we see sherry, things like Oloroso or PX, which is, Pedro Meneth. You sometimes see like a Sauterne or Ribeiro del Duero, some of those red wines, some more of those interesting things, orange wine. But, we don't see a lot finished in Armagnac. So this is kind of an interesting one for us to go ahead and check out. The embargo drops today, so hopefully this is the first place you're seeing a review. We like to finish these nice and early, so that way you guys know whether to chase it or hunt it. I believe it's officially being announced at Tales of the Cocktail, but I'm not 100%. So let's go ahead and dive on in. You can see the color on this guy, pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it's picked up a ton of color either from the cask or the finishing cask. Armagnac is usually pretty dark when it comes out of the cask. Those barrels are fairly active typically. Craigellachie, 13 years, for 13-year-old spirit, this hasn't picked up a ton of that cask either. So I wouldn't expect this to be super pungent or crazy brandy stewed fruits heavy, but I'm curious to see which way it turns out. So on the nose, tons of wax fruit, honey, pear, kind of apple, maybe a light touch of cinnamon, a nice waxy fruitiness, touch of grain, some light rising bread. On the palate, it's very interesting. A lot more character than I typically get from Craigellachie. A little more pepper, a lot more spice and bite. It's honey up front. I want to say like a minerality, light smokiness, kind of more on the ash side, more mineral focused smoke. It's not peaty. It's more like a wood burning oven, maybe some slate, just a touch industrial. Really full of like apples, pears, maybe a touch of nutmeg, some walnut, cinnamon, perhaps a little bit. I wouldn't say it's rich on the palate, but it has a nice presence. It's not like thick and syrupy. It's not like big and juicy. It's not, powerful and really savory, but there's plenty of character here. I thought it'd be kind of a light wisp away. On the finish, there's a lot more character. This finish, I would say, is kind of in the medium. It's not super long. It's not super expressive. It's not super potent or powerful. But there is a good deal of character to it. It finishes nice and gradual. Some finishes kind of fall out very quickly. Some finishes last for a very, very, very long time. This is nice and linear, which is kind of important because it leaves you wanting to go for another sip, right? If the finish takes 10 years, it's one of those things that could take you all night to drink. This is, I wouldn't put it crushable. You don't want to drink a lot of it, but it is easy to sip. It's inviting. It's interesting on the nose. Palate's got a lot going on, and the finish is nice and gentle. Coasts out evenly, makes it really easy to go back for a second sip. So following back through, this is a 13-year Speysider. Really kind of cool. The art seems to be following the Craigellachie, kind of name. This has enough going on that's different from the standard bottlings. I forget what the MSRP is on this. I try not to think about price when I'm reviewing or when I'm really thinking about products from a quality perspective. I'd give this a go. This is interesting enough. It seems to take on character mostly in adding a little woodiness, a little bit of extra spice to the palate, which is something Craigellachie never really has. So I think that the finish is overall improved here. Palate's definitely improved. Really nice nose. It's just really, it's like really just interesting to sit and smell. It's got a lot of character. It's really fun. So overall, I would say this was worth a pickup if you can find it. I wouldn't hunt for it. I wouldn't go crazy for it. I wouldn't cash in any favors or spend, maybe more than 150 bucks. But I think it's interesting. I do like that it's bottled at 46%. This really helps. I don't think that products need to be 48 or 50 or 55 or 60 to be a good value. I just ask that they're not the legal 40, because this really, it does have a nice mouthfeel. It's got a good deal of character going on. And honestly, it's easy to drink. It's fun. It's got a lot of character, and it's one of the more interesting Craigellachies that I've had. We'll see. I've got some more reviews coming, some pretty old stuff, but in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy more of this. So thank you guys checking this out. If you have had Craigellachie before, like it, love it, hate it, go ahead and drop me a note in the comments. If you are looking forward to this bottle, or maybe you've been at Tales of the Cocktail, go ahead and let me know as well. And for anyone else, maybe drop an emoji below. The engagement always helps the channel. Really appreciate you stopping by. And if for more from me, you can find me at whiskyraiders.com. This review goes up today as well. And join us here for reviews from John and I in the next weekly whiskey episode. So thanks, guys. Catch you later, and enjoy a good pour on your way out. So cheers.